It's 3 months away from summer, and you say to yourself, I need to do a couple of things to get to this goal of looking the best that I can look for the summertime, right? So when you do those things, you go through a process of elimination of what you need to work on. So one thing you may be working on is changing the way you eat, going to a calorie deficit, reducing maybe going out and eating out, or your level of drinking. Like, you go through a process of trying to figure out what you could be doing to help you reach this goal. And you know it's not going to happen overnight because it requires you to be disciplined to do these things over and over and over and over again. If you, as a person, could know that I need to do those things with this, what makes it any different than when you're trying to strive for something that you know you are destined to do and be? It's your girl Gris Blanco back with another video, and today I wanted to kind of talk about something that was on my heart today about discipline and change. I think that people throw around discipline, change, consistency around at people, but don't necessarily think about it in a practical sense, and also what are they doing, whether this is for a creative, whether this is for a person who wants to make life changes. Those things typically overlap with each other with different types of realms. So I say it to say that for me personally, I'm going through that process right now and just kind of just shedding old skin. I know for myself, I'm in a testament of the times that I was consistent with things I wanted to be consistent with, or disciplined enough with certain things, but then wasn't disciplined with certain things, other things that may have been more important, and kind of picking and choosing your battles in that. For me personally, right now, I am in a very I'm shedding an old self and also rebuilding a newer self, but also kind of reconfiguring old pieces that I know are meaningful for me to transition into this newer version of myself, per se. So as a person and as a creative, I'm in this process of just really challenging myself. And I think that's the biggest part of when you are trying to reconfigure yourself to have discipline, to be consistent in what the things you want to do. So for me right now, I've cut out certain things that I don't no longer want to be receptive to and hearing. I've cut out things that I don't want to consume, whether it's too much social media, whether it's dietary things. I've just purged those things. Something for that I've also been kind of working on is purging old relationships that may not serve me no purpose anymore, and being content and okay with that, understanding that things are meant to occur in the phases that they are supposed to occur in, and that we can't sit here and try to hold on to stuff. Um, I'm changing a whole different career path for myself right now, and just pretty much putting me forward. I sacrificed so much of myself to help build other things for other people, and then I was neglecting myself. I was more disciplined being a worker instead of being a creative, and I had to purge that out of my being to not continue to enact in that type of behavior and whatnot. So it happens to everybody. You have to go through that phase. You have to go through the one to change and whatnot. I was more passionate about something for someone else versus being passionate for something for me, or me being more caring towards something for someone else than they cared for it. And that energy could have been internalized in things that I wanted to do and work on and whatnot. But it's okay. You learn, you move forward, you transition, and then you say to yourself, how do I take that same passion, that same drive, that same thing I was doing for somebody else and doing it for myself? And I feel like that's when you have to sit there with yourself and say to yourself, what is it that I want? I'm 28 years old. I'm unemployed right now. I want to be a creative. I want to be able to do anything that I want to create, and I want to put it out in the world, and I want somebody to consume it and want it to be beneficial to someone else in the world, because I'm that type of person that I like to give, and I'm not really a taker. And understanding the fact of like, this is a passion of mine, but I can't be who I want to be while doing that for other people who aren't doing it for themselves. And then you look crazy, because then they're looking at you like, this doesn't affect you at the end of the day. And it don't affect me at the end of the day. But you should want people to want to feel the same drive you have for your stuff to feel that way for you. I've had relationships, romantic ones, that have fell through because of the fact that I was more passionate about something they were passionate about, and then were mad at me that I was supporting them and what they wanted. And I could have took that energy that I was putting towards them and putting it towards myself. So that's where I'm at with it, is understanding the fact of like, I have to lock in for myself right now and be disciplined on what I want to do. After the last 2 months of kind of like not really working for nobody and stuff like that, I have been more unlearning and reconditioning who I am at my core value, without having to listen to someone else telling me that I'm wrong for wanting to do this thing, and having to uphold to somebody's quota or satisfaction chart, like to be a barcode for somebody, and that you could be quickly so expendable and have no value, and they don't even think about you, they don't think another day about you, and they don't worry about you, they don't know what happens after they part with you. Discipline, consistency, and just kind of reconfiguring yourself is manifesting. um I think that people really don't understand that words really have power to them, and whatever you want or desire or care for, if you don't speak life into it, and then you also don't put effort towards those things. I think that's another thing. People think when you manifest something, they think that you're just supposed to just think about it and then pray about it and then it's just supposed to happen. You still have to put in effort. You still have to do things to put towards the thing that you want to manifest. It's not going to happen overnight, but you still have to apply yourself to do those things. I've had to change my mind on paying attention more to what the universe and God was telling me in 4K. Literally. The week before I lost my job, I was at work. I was at work, and the office was barely empty. And I went in there and I did a task that I've done before. I was doing mail. And I was like, something just made me just be like, yo, I want to quit right now. Like, I want to quit today. I was so frustrated and so infuriated, because I was like, yo, I feel like nothing that I do is ever good enough. Nothing I ever do is looked at as me being consistent and showing up for what is being asked of me. And I remember I said to God, I was like, man, I was like, I need the opportunity to just sit down and work on music and work on the creative stuff I want to do. I want to start my YouTube channel back up and be consistent with posted videos as I'm working on music and building myself up as the creative that I wanted to be. And I said, I just need the universe to give me that chance to take the time out. I was like, I only need a couple of months to really just reconfigure how I want to maneuver in the world as a creative, as an artist. And the following week, I got canned. I didn't say to God how I wanted to, take the time to really configure myself, but you still say to yourself, damn, you're like that quickly. But I felt it in my core that I just was like, I don't want to be here anymore. Like, I feel like I'm losing myself. I'm losing my inner self to be somewhere, and I'm not valued when I could be pouring that back into myself. So, I made a vision board, and some of the things on my vision board I have already kind of knocked off. Some things that would be, I guess, somewhat materialistic to some people, but for me, I felt like it was like something I'm like, I want it to be a part of myself, part of my branding. There was a part of me as a woman, I felt like I was like, damn, I'm like so underappreciated and not really treated like a lady. And I feel like, you know, I felt like I was acting like a YN somewhat, like, because I just felt like I couldn't truly be like in my feminine energy because I was constantly in survival mode or being protective of myself and having to just be this like a somewhat aggressive or an assertive person, and then people thinking that you constantly want to be that way, and I don't want to always be that way at all. Outside of doing a vision board, the vision board and just writing and stuff like that helps you show up for yourself more. You can't just show up for yourself one day. You got to show up for yourself consistently. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some progress. You can't jump right into it, because even when you jump into something, you still are going to make mistakes along the way. You know, I'm also in the process, continuing losing weight and getting back to how I felt when I first went to college. Like, looking back at the times where I'm like, somewhat, you kind of punish yourself because you're like, damn, it's like having to unlearn bad behaviors, bad habits that you established for years, over eating like bigger portions. It's like going from a bigger portion to a smaller portion, going in a calorie deficit, you know, being more walking and stuff like that. But it's like things like depression and life events, it happens. And it's like something I used to do was shame myself for the times where I'm like, I'm having a low day or a low vibe, or I'm just not where I need to be at peak. So then you then don't want to do nothing because you're like, dang, I already messed up. But I had to rewire my thinking of like, I have to push myself past that. I have to understand that it's okay to have a low day. It's okay to have a bad time. It's okay for things to not exactly be the way it's supposed to be all the time. So for me, it's like, there's going to be a day that I may have a cheat day. There's going to be a day that I may not be in the great mindset. It's still the winter time. The weather has a huge effect on people's mental health. I want to be in the sun. I want to go on walks. I want to be on adventures outside. But I also have to remember that in order to appreciate the sunny days, the spring days, the flowers blooming, I have to also acknowledge the winter and the cold and the darkness and the depression that occurs. You know, um, I think appreciating the bad or the whatever you want to deem it, it makes you appreciate the other things more. Um, you know, I know even for myself right now, like outside of that, you know, all I've known is to be this specific way because I was trying to fit a mold that other people had put for me or what people deemed was acceptable. You know, even though I have history of doing this, I did theater for a really long time. I sung, dance, all kind of stuff. But for some reason, I was afraid to go and start working on music seriously because I was like, why would somebody listen to me? Why would somebody buy my painting? Why would somebody support my art because I saw somebody else stuff being supported? But I was already doubting myself before I even gave myself the chance to even put myself out there. So it's just like, you know, anytime somebody says to me like they like a painting of mine or something that I've done artistically has influenced them in some way or motivated them in some way. I had two art shows. I got people who've told me they were like, yo, I would ever never thought to do my own solo show. But I woke up one day and I said, I have to do this for me. And I'm not going to allow someone else to think that I'm not of value because of whatever classification that they have in their head. And that's how I knew that I was like, I need this time to really be my most authentic self, to give it all my all. And if it don't work, then I'll just go right back to doing what I was doing previously. And, and just trying to kind of live life and just do what I was doing already. But there's something in me that's letting me know that there's more to my creative journey than what I was already kind of putting it in. And that's why I've been consistent. I started my YouTube channel back up at the beginning of January of 2025, clearly. And I have posted a video at least 2 or 3 every week. Posting 1 or 2 videos a week. There's 4 weeks in a month, right? If you post two videos, for example, for 4 weeks, right? So 2, 4, 6, 8, right? 8 videos in 4 weeks. Now, imagine doing that over a 2-3 month span, right? And you did 8 videos for 3 months. That means you did 24 videos in 3 months. But look how that sounds, right? That may sound like it's too much. But when you look back at it, after you did all of them, you're like, damn, I did that. I was consistent enough to do that thing. But some people are scared to just take that leap of faith to just do that one video. You're gonna make mistakes. I remember when I first started my channel, I was terrible. It was like, of course, very hard critical on myself. That's just me as a person. So, whether it's you're doing YouTube, whether you're writing a book, whether you're working on music, whether you're working on a script, whether you're trying to be a voice actor, whether you're trying to be an actor, whether you're trying to be a drummer or a pianist, or you want to be a baker, you gotta start somewhere. You're not going to be perfect off rip. I know, and I'm saying that as a person who's freaking crazy. I'm like obsessed with being a perfectionist. Like, it's like I pride myself in like being able to know how I could did something correctly the first time for myself. Not to other people's standard, but because it's like that. And it's just because I did the research. 1, I do research. 2, as much as I'm doing the research, I'm trying to find a practical way to relate to whatever I'm doing. And then 3, actually applying that. And then when I feel like there's things that require a critique, I critique it. I'm my hardest critic. But it's just the fact of like, I also can't I can't hinder myself by me not trying and applying myself to do those things. So, you know, tearing your old self to rebuild your new self is a everyday thing that requires effort on both ends to show up for yourself and put yourself out there. There's people every day who wake up and they say, I don't want to do this thing anymore, or I don't want to be this way anymore. If somebody wakes up and they say, I don't want to be the fat friend anymore, right? They'll start doing things to go lose weight. If somebody doesn't want to continue to be a person who works for the justice system or something, right? And then they say, my passion is to create a culinary experience or some type of sweet confection experience. They want to be a chocolatier, right? They're going to go and start trying to learn how to do those things because they find passion in it. People who are like, oh, they went to school for culinary arts because they feel like food is such a great way to bring people together. You have to find your passion, and you have to say one day you have to go after it. You can't continue to let it be this thing that just is an echo in your echo chamber in your brain. That doesn't do anything for you to continue to be an echo chamber. Grizz Blanco is rebuilding herself and what that means, and also, you know, expressing myself in any way, whether it's doing my makeup, whether it's putting on a certain outfit. It could be a regular day and there's no reason to be throwing on a crazy fit. It's the fact that I woke up today made me the reason of why I wanted to put this crazy fit on. And appreciate the fact that I was able to wake up and put on that crazy fit. Things like that, and show it for myself. Not caring about what other people are thinking of me. There's people who didn't think I would be able to put on an art show, and I put on 2 in a matter of 2 years. and did everything myself. The promo, the artwork itself, doing all the calls that a manager or like an art curator would do, and I was doing it for myself. And had actual people come and buy tickets and actually come to my art show. And that's when I knew I was like, whatever I want to do, I'm going to put my mind to it and apply myself. But sometimes you get lost in the gray and you forget you've done certain things that has showed you that you are capable of what you're capable of. So I say this to say that I'm in a new arc right now of discipline and being consistent and showing up for myself. And I hope you do the same too. If there's anything I would want you to take from this video today, other than the fact that you gotta start showing up for yourself. If it's not me saying it to you, if there's people who are around you that see that you're going through the things you're going through, you have to get that wake-up call of showing up for yourself. So I say this to say, if you are a creative or a person who wants to kind of like change your life, but you kind of don't know where to start, I would suggest getting the book, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I feel like it's like the holy grail, and it just really challenges you and makes you think about things a little bit deeper and what you are trying to strive for and what you want, and kind of unlocking those bulbs or knots that you had. And yeah, so I hope whatever I said in this video that folks resonate with it, and know that there's so much money in the world, but there's not enough people who are living their life to what they want it to be. And we can't let somebody else continue to dictate how our life should be. You have to dictate how you want your life to be. So that is all it for me today. I hope you continue to follow me on my journey in rebuilding myself. And I hope that to cross paths with any of you, to also rebuild yourself and be your authentic self as well. See you next time.